Welcome to the 2024 Winter Classic Student Cluster Competition Studio Update Show. Now, here are your hosts, Dan Olds and Addison Snell.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Intersect 360 Research Winter Classic Invitational Student Cluster Competition Studio Update Show. I'm Addison Snell, together again with Dan Olds. And Dan, The students dove right in at HPE doing LINPAC and HPCG, and we've got our first results leaderboard show.
We do. We're going to get a look at what's going on, and I'm going to tell you that this is historically close.
Historically, out of the gate, it's historically close.
You'll be amazed. But first, let's talk a little bit about the challenge.
All right.
LINPAC, HPCG, you know them, you love them. And our pals at HPE did the mentoring, which means providing the systems and providing the training, questions and answers, essentially proctors for this. And they went all out. They had 5 hours of training material.
Love this. HPE returning as a mentor, leading off with LINPAC and HPCG again, and taking the platinum sponsorship slot again. Big thanks to HPE. Can't do it without you. The tremendous leadership. And how did the students respond?
They responded by running some LINPAC and HPCG, as it turns out.
All right.
They got trained up.
They got introduced to all kinds of stuff. They were doing the Cray programming environment, Slurm. They got introduced to Slurm, Dan.
They did. They slurmed it up. Cray MPI, profiling, debugging. I don't know if there was enough of that done by all of the teams, but I think it's a valuable lesson to learn. And then they did a deep dive into LINPAC and HPCG, and some students really sopped that up. Some of the efficiency scores are fantastic.
And the students had to do this all pretty quick. They were given material the Thursday before the official Monday kickoff, and then there were some live Q&A sessions. But often the students have to turn these things in by like Saturday night at the end of the week. Now it was not just Friday night, but Friday afternoon. The students really had to get going.
They did, and the reason why, and it typically goes till Saturday afternoon Pacific time, but this system has been in the works for a mandatory upgrade, and it was going to be offline during that time, but HPE rearranged that schedule to accommodate us. The price was, we're 1 day short of the typical 6 days they get, but that's life. That's real life. That kind of stuff happens.
That's right.
So deal with it.
That's absolutely right. I can hear my grad school professors telling me exactly the same thing. If something would go down, well, you'd still do, right? Get used to it. Don't cry to me.
Exactly. So let's take a look at some of the highlights. I gotta say, I was impressed, and the folks from HPE were impressed by Fayetteville State. They were turning in runs within an hour of logging on.
Wow. So they just jumped right in.
They jumped right in. They also logged the most online time. And then the TTU teams from Texas Tech, Matadors and Red Raiders, they were active, but the Matadors logged more time on the system by about 2x. I'm not sure if that's going to factor into the results or not.
We have found that often getting going early and often on these can make a big difference. It gives the teams a chance to try more different parameters, more different configurations, tweak this, tune that, and see what makes a difference.
And an update to the battle for the states, the Lobos had more completed jobs than any other team by 3x. That's New Mexico.
The Lobos at New Mexico, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And the Red Raiders were close. It's second and third when it came to completed runs. So again, we'll see if this stuff is indicative of the final results.
All right, so we'll get our first look at the leaderboard. A quick reminder, every challenge is graded on a curve. We take the maximum score, that's 100. If someone did not complete, that's a 0, and everything else is just a percentage in between. Now, HPE, this challenge is unique because it's really 2 challenges for the price of 1. You get your LinPack, you get your HPCG. Those are 2 independent scores, each with a maximum of 100. So we've got 200 points on the line today, Dan.
We do. Let's take our first look at the leaderboard with results.
All right.
Now, bottom up. This happens every year. There were some teams that just couldn't get over the hump on LinPack. Totally normal. This stuff, HPC supercomputers, very new to the vast majority of these students. So we had 3 teams that couldn't get it done, but that's okay.
That's all right. Long way to go. You're still in the fight. Keep plugging away. Let's get to the ones who did complete it.
Okay, here we go. We're going to hit the teams 6 through 8. And the thing is, these teams might want to redo on LinPack. They all have prior competition experience, and I was sort of expecting them to do a little bit better. But, coming in at 91 points, 89 points is pretty good.
Not terrible. You're on the board.
Yeah. Respectable start.
These are actually pretty dense. You showed someone had an 89, 77. I'm thinking they're in the top half somewhere.
Kind of, but you haven't seen dense until you see this. Let's move on.
Fourth and fifth.
So looking at the battle for New Mexico and the battle for Texas, the Roadrunners are the clear winner for New Mexico, at least, since we see the Lobos at number 8. But while the Red Raiders finished 5th with a very respectable score, we still haven't seen their campus rival Matadors yet.
98.5 comes in 4th. 96 comes in 5th. All right.
It's a rough curve, man.
How did the good teams do? Wow.
Well, we're going to get there. But look at the Red Raiders. 96%, and you're in 5th. So
that's all right. You're going to make up 3.9 points pretty quick.
I would think so. Yeah. So let's see where it went. Top 3. Boom. Look at this.
Fayetteville State, you said that they jumped out early and often, and then here they are in the top 3 and within a percentage point of the top.
Yeah, and look at the difference between, Channel Islands Team B and Texas Tech, the Matadors, 9 gigaflops. That's it.
Yeah,
and
that's almost nothing.
4 of a point. It is nothing. I would round that. So amazing. Now we've got the whole board complete. Very, very close.
Very close. And way to go for Team B from Channel Islands, CSUCI, on top on a very dense field. But that's only half the story because they had to do HPCG as well. Traditionally more challenging than LinPack. We've seen that in prior years in the Winter Classic. How did that one turn out? Let's start again at the bottom. A couple more teams with challenges, I assume.
Some stumbles, absolutely. And again, typical. We had a total of 4 teams who couldn't get it done. It's a tough result, but again, typical. We had about the same number last year. But here's the thing. They tend to leave HPCG for last, and they get wrapped around the axle working on LinPack and trying to optimize that. And then HPCG, is an afterthought for some of these teams.
These are the championships. It's tough to get a run in here, and more than half the teams did complete it. So let's go to some of those scores.
Okay, let's take a look at the middle of the pack. We see the University of New Mexico Roadrunners in 7th with 22.5 points, but at least they got on the board. The Lobos in 6th. We see Team B in 5th with 90%, and they're in 5th. Red Raiders pulling in 4th Wonder where the Matadors
So
are.
CSUCI Team B, they were the ones we just said were number one on HPL, right? That Team B there, and they're within 10% on the other challenge, but that's coming in fifth. 96 is in fourth place. A 96 on HPCG is in fourth place. That's nuts.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible? Okay, let's see where it is again. It's another photo finish. Check that out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredibly close. So third to fourth, we went from 96.18 to 96.54, which is a razor thin margin between third and fourth. But then, then that's the not so slow slugs at UC Santa Cruz. Then Fayetteville State.
Less than 2 points. I mean, come on. That's just incredible. And then the Matadors top them by, 0.15%?
Yeah, that's a photo finish right there.
I mean, I think that difference could be accounted for by interstellar electrons hitting the systems during their particular run, or the wind, or something. That is very cool.
What, 210 megaflops between first and second. It's not even a gigaflop.
Yeah.
It's not even half a gigaflop.
That is just incredible. And now we've got the board populated. Why don't we throw some totals in there and
total points to date?
Here we go. We've got the teams that got off to a rough start. That's okay. It's early. You've got time. And by the way, all of these, even though you didn't complete, these are all stories you can tell in interviews.
And lots of time to get points on the board. And that's what we're doing here anyway, is figuring this out. But aside from that, you got 8 teams that at least completed one. More than half the teams completed both.
Yep. Looking at the middle of the pack, we've got the Lobos and the Roadrunners locked in combat, with the Lobos only trailing by less than 2 points. We got Prairie View coming up there. That's good. But take a look at this grouping at the top. I mean, between Santa Cruz and the Matadors. I mean, that is not very many points.
Less than 15 points from first to fifth.
Yeah.
Is very dense, like you're saying. All right, but top of the pack, Texas Tech Matadors, they were number 2 by a sliver on LinPack. They are number 1 overall on HPCG, and that puts them number 1 overall by less than 1 point over Fayetteville State, who is right there. That is now a rounding error between those two.
And take a look at the Red Raiders coming up from behind. This, I mean, from what we're seeing, it's going to be a real battle in Texas.
7 points behind the leaders, and there's going to be some stink eye going back and forth on that.
And Channel Islands Team B, right in there. I mean, it's 10 points, and they're in the lead. And Santa Cruz is, again, right in there too.
And 11 teams that learned about LinPack and HPCG from HPE, and they're getting their starts in high-performance computing. Next up, Dan, we got a long way to go. Next up, NASA Ames Research Center.
Yes, it is. Still secret application. I believe they're going to give the students a chance to start on the training a little bit early. They're complete with that, and I'll be sending out an email blast so they can get going. Our next studio update show is going to feature the HPE mentors, a little behind the scenes action, and they also will probably have some advice for the student teams.
All right. Well, you can keep following along at winterclassicinvitational.com or through our media partners at HPC Wire. You can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can search for HPC Winter Classic to find our Twitter handle, HPC Winter SC Comp, or you can find us on LinkedIn. Again, search HPC Winter Classic, and you'll find our LinkedIn handle there. We'll be bringing you all the news online. And Dan, this is so much fun. Great job by the students.
This is great. Yes, it is. Thanks to everybody, and we'll be coming back at you again soon.